All right, balls in your park.
All right. Well, of course, first I had to ask you about Jaron. I mean, like, that had to be quite a shock, huh?
It's a little shocking. His behavior is very strange. I don't know what's going on with him. It's super suspect, but I don't really have much to say about it.
I mean, it's got to be something that seems to me had to occur a long time ago
Could
for
be.
this all to play out the way it did.
It could be. I don't know. He started not was unwilling to get on the phone with me, which he used to be for about a month or so before TFE. He would only text me, and I couldn't get him on the phone. I'm not sure if it happened then or before. Not sure what it is.
Oh well, um, I, I guess that's one of the things that I never would have predicted. That
Me
no matter
neither.
what, yeah, no matter what you experience, how can it wipe out everything else? I mean,
It doesn't make any sense to me. But we can just talk about what does make sense, and let people have their journey.
yeah, okay, cool. Um, are you like a one man show? You do all this yourself?
Pretty much.
All the video editing and
Yeah.
selecting the videos of the day and
Yeah.
everything, huh?
I'll do it all.
Damn. One I'm pretty amazed, man. I got to tell you how much I've enjoyed. It was October of 23, no, October of 24 when I first saw you on Sons of Liberty.
Okay.
And it was like 10 minutes in, it was like, you got to be kidding. Um, and it was the curvature rate. I mean, as soon as I heard that 8 inches per mile squared, it's just like, no, can't, just can't be. I mean, seen too many things that dispute that idea. And so I actually planned on proposing to you till I found out you were married.
Posing to me.
Yeah.
We'll just
Well,
leave that. We'll let that one go by.
I mean, there's not many people you can talk to about flat Earth.
Well, there's lots of people you can talk to if you look on the friend finder. What state are you located in?
I'm in Louisiana.
Oops, I'm offline right now. The Louisiana would be, well, I can't really get there that quickly, but um, Louisiana is over here, right? Watch all these people.
Yeah.
Ready? Oops. I got really bad service here, but there's a lot of people in Louisiana.
Are you in Mexico?
I am in Mexico right now.
Yeah. And how did the event go in Acapulco?
Oh, went super well. My presentation, besides a little technical issue where it was so hot, the computer crashed a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
it was one of the most crowded ones, and everybody loved it. And then we did a debate on the last day, and that was great also, really good. I just uploaded actually it's someone else, someone filmed it from the side and didn't do a bad job. It's on my interviews playlist.
Yeah. Um, I'm working through a list of questions I had here for you, but
Let's do
I
it.
was thinking that if it's okay with you, that I would go through these. What obviously we're mistaken about our idea about the flat Earth. That there's just a bunch of coincidences that that we're not aware of. I was gonna walk through those and get you to comment on them.
Sure, let's do it.
If that's cool. But it's working through these questions. How convinced are you now that the sun was fake down there?
That's a great question. Then, and the reason I'm not giving it a whole lot more time is because if it was completely faked, like I believe, if I had to pick right now, I would say it was faked. A lot of people are like, that's crazy, but the technology is there. It's actually old technology. I don't think that anyone that any of the flat earthers that went there, well, that actually might be changing. I know that they went there. I believe that they were not in a studio. Um, I believe that if there was a circling sun, there is some explanation. The sky is immaterial, though the ground is material. We can't explain the immaterial. Um, when you look straight down on the Gleason's map, right now, if I well, it's just after 12 where I am. I'm in Mexico, and it's just a little past 12 o'clock, so it's 12:40. If I waited until the sun got over here and I called my friend PK, he would say it's noon and the sun's right above him. I was on a radio show in near Johannesburg, and the sun. I noticed the sun was right over. I was trying to like find where he was, and I was like, "Hey, what time is it? And where's the sun?" He said it was noon. The sun was right above him. So the circling sun on the AE map does work from a top-down view for its zenith position. After it gets off its zenith position, it does some weird optical things. But the sky is not how you measure the ground. You can determine some things from the sky. Like we have a video coming out from Space Busters that show all the Antarctic bases and the day and night times there, and they don't match the globe. But the Globers don't want to look at that. They go, "Oh, I saw light in the sky. Therefore, I'm going to take 10 years of my, you know, laughing at them and all of the ridiculous nonsense, and I'm just going to start agreeing with everything." That's kind of weird. I'm not sure what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I would assume that Austin doesn't buy the idea that it could have been faked.
Probably not. I did present it to him, and he said that it's interesting. It's possible, but he's not going to go down that road right now because it's really a hard road to sell, even to people that know that there was fakery going on. They don't want to buy that. They want to believe that a crazy idea that they were in an Amazon studio, giant LED screens. I think it's way easier and way bigger than that. I think this was an operation to, just like when they did the moon landing, it was an operation to make people believe that they're spinning lost in space and that there is no creator.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if even the most knowledgeable truthers understand how powerful that entity is that's creating this deception.
I
Um,
that is a great comment. That is absolutely truth. And you know, somebody that is not affected by it but doesn't understand it can't see through the deception. And somebody that's under the influence of it, they believe everything, that it's, you know, telling them, if you will. So it is an amazing, incredible, exciting spiritual war that we're in. And the truth will win in the end. And the Globers be like, "Oh, it's a globe is going to win." No, we're not standing upside down to people in Australia. We're not spinning. We're not in a space vacuum that violates all the laws of physics. None of that's true.
well, to that, zero and down on that in the way you look at it, was there ever a point in time where um, there was something about flat Earth that forced the idea that maybe it's round? Or
Well,
was it a deception that was born entirely for the purposes of control and
I believe it was born out of controlling the people, imprisoning our minds. And you know, if you don't know where you live, or what this place is, you you're lost. You're lost in space, right? We're living this system where everything, I'll say it, is alive, from the moon, the stars, the ground, everything. It's all part of this living system. right? And we are incredible, connected spiritual beings. The stars, in my opinion, just me, I think the stars are angelic. That's why they never move. They're perfect. And we're having this soul experience in this system that was made for souls to have an experience. So it's a soul system, not a soul lure system, right? And we have this massive connection, telepathy. Is that the right word? Telepathy, right? I'm thinking of
Telepathy,
tilapia,
yeah.
the fish.
Yeah.
So the fish that know what other fish are doing, they're called telepathy. Okay, and
Yeah.
when you introduce the globe, it cuts you off. It literally imprisons your mind. And when you're cut off, you're easily controllable. And the way they control us is through fear, right? Fear, whatever kind, false evidence appearing real. So
Yeah.
it takes a strong person, and this whole thing, this whole TFE, if you will, you call it, um, is going to make Flutter stronger. It's literally just going to weed out all the nonsense, and it's going to bring in all the good stuff. We're doing today. What's today? Today's Wednesday. On Friday, the 28th, at 3 p.m. Eastern, we're doing a multi-channel live stream with all of the old OG truthers, flat earthers, a lot of big names, and they're all there.
What
There's
is
more and more coming. It'll be from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So this
what
will
is
probably
OG?
OG
What is
means
that?
old. OG is old guard. Is that the word? It's like the old, like the OGs, the old guard. I hope I
Okay.
got that right.
That's
So
the idea though, is
yeah,
that
that's the
yeah.
idea. That's the idea. Um, I haven't thought about
So
that in a while. I'm just having a brain fart on that. That's interesting. I think it's an old guard. It's Dr. Zach is going to be there. Allegedly, Dave's going to be there. Marty Leeds, um, and countless others. And we're all going to be. We're not going to be. We're going to be talking about flat Earth proofs and globe debunks, and that's what the show is about. And it's going to be. I everyone's invited, so we'll see how many people come. They'll be coming in and out. It'll be kind of fun. And you can find that if you go to Flat Earth Dave. That's my Facebook page. It'll be posted there. There'll also be a preview, a short video announcing it on my regular YouTube channel, DITRH. And it'll also be linked below this video when it's on my channel.
yeah.
Okay.
So you're kind of the same mind I think that I am, that there was never any reason to get away from the idea that the earth is flat and stationary, that it was all a concoction essentially to disconnect mankind from the creator
That is
and connect it.
100% it. 100% in my opinion. So,
I can't think of
well,
anything that would.
it's about control. It's about
Yeah,
controlling people's minds,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
when and the matrix, is strong. It holds a lot of minds. Just like the movie, it's holding your mind. You're in a matrix, if you will, a mind matrix. That's the globe. And when you unplug from it and you see what this place truly is, it opens up your mind, and you're reconnected with the world. And so they don't want this. They don't want this. They want
yeah.
this.
Right.
Right? They want little good worker slaves that are in no that are in plugged into the globe matrix. So the globe is like pointing. What's your best proof for the globe? Well, 2,000 years ago, a guy named Eratosthenes, he did an impossible experiment, and or the light in the sky, that proves it. If you look at the lights in the sky and you actually do a little bit of thinking, that they're lying about everything. Like, we couldn't see Polaris at 2 light months away, distance in light years. At 2 light months away, it's provable that it would be too small to see. But it's not 2 light months away. It's 330 light year, 230 430 light years away. The numbers are just so stupid. But nobody wants to really think about it, because when you get into big numbers, people's minds melt, and they're just like, well, that guy's got a white lab coat and a pocket protector, therefore he knows more than I do.
Would you remember the guy Mark?
Mark
That
Sargent?
no. It's one of the guys that interviewed you, and he starts off. He's got this British accent, and he starts off. Why in this world where we've got satellites and planes flying all over, how could anyone actually believe that we're on a flat Earth? And I'm going to collaborate here today to try to see if I can get behind the thinking that how the world could possibly be flat. Remember that guy?
No, I don't, but tell me more.
Okay. Okay. Well, it was just interesting because, I'm sitting there thinking that he's the one thinking that he's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and doing all these ridiculous movements through space. And he's like a missionary, he's going to go into your world and try to understand how you could possibly be so confused that you think the earth is flat and stationary. It was just, this is a guy that you would probably trust your finances to, I mean, he's so indoctrinated that he can't see the forest for the
That's
trees.
why. So I didn't get to him. I didn't convert him.
Well, no, I would
Okay,
say no.
that's okay. It happens. It
But
happens.
it was curious though, because for instance, he was surprised to know that the equation for a curve was not linear. And
Right.
this is an astrophysicist, and he was surprised to learn that a curve is not a linear equation. But he's so indoctrinated that, even that tripped him up. Really weird.
You mentioned satellites, so satellites are on balloons
Yeah.
mostly. There might be other stuff up there. Do you know how solar panels work? It's a double question. First thing is, do you know how a solar panel makes electricity?
Well, I know that because I've listened to everything you've done.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. They have a stupid
Yeah.
theory. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But because they don't know that the sun is just close and it's sending electricity and they're just collecting it. Um,
Yeah.
Solar panels also need to be angled towards the sun. So I live in Connecticut, and in Connecticut, you want to set your panels about a 30-degree tilt facing south so the sun comes up and over and is facing the panel all day long. Right. And so that gets the most amount of sun. Why are these panels facing towards the horizon? Right. Because then it would only get sun at sunrise, sunrise and sunset. Because when the sun's overhead, it wouldn't be producing any power because the sun would be coming in at too bad of an angle. And so why do they do that? Well, when we go up to the height of a balloon, it's facing right towards the sun. It's right there. Right. If the sun was 93 million miles away, this would be like 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun's going to keep going up and up and up and up as it goes over, but it's always at this height. It's always at this angle at this height. So the panels are facing it. This is enough right here. This proves that our sun is local. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
There's no explanation.
It really is weird that all you have to do is look at the sun and the moon to know they can't possibly be at the distances we're
Yeah.
told.
You know,
Interesting.
let me
And
show you
you
this.
you actually ask him, how do you know that the sun reflects off the moon? And he said, well, how can you possibly believe that the sun reflects off the moon? And he said, oh no, you don't understand. It's not that I believe that, I know that. How does he know
Yeah. You go
that
out
the
on a full
sun is
moon night.
reflecting off the moon?
Full moon night, you can read a book. If this is the only light, you're in the middle of nowhere. You can read a book. It casts your shadow on the ground. We're 250,000 miles away. That's what they tell us. Okay, so this dusty, dirty ball is reflecting enough light where it'll cast a shadow. You can read a book. Now, when you get halfway to the moon, it would be 4 times brighter. Halfway to again, it'll be 16 times brighter, right? The inverse square law, it's just crazy how bright it gets. It's like midday I'm standing right next to this arguably more reflective cement ball. Is it reflecting light on me? Is it traveling? Do you think I could see that from a mile away? You think the light on that would even get to me? Right? This is insane to think that this is it, it, it's just people just want to believe anything.
Yeah,
It,
Narnia, as you
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah. But
And the
not
scale of it,
yeah,
the the moon is, if the Earth was a foot in diameter,
yeah.
the moon would be 30 feet away from the Earth.
Okay, makes
Can you
sense.
imagine taking a flashlight and shining it on a ball so that it reflects off to hit the Earth to create a hot spot the size of the eye of the
So
end of a needle?
this is from NASA, and this is we have a full Earth. That means that the sun is directly behind the camera and the satellite. And when the moon comes by, how come it's not lit up? It should be light. It should be light. We're close to the moon. Why isn't it? Why isn't it the backside of the moon lit? Oh, exposure. It's if you don't understand aperture, Dave, you're a flurf.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want you knowing this stuff because this frees your mind.
Mm, mm.
Amazing.
Do you think that the wild distances and speeds and all that, for instance, why claim that all these speeds? Do they have to support some other notion, or is it all to just make it sound so weird that it's like a clue?
Well, they need these speeds and they need these distances so you can't verify anything, right? We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour on average. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. These are unimaginable speeds. And we're moving sideways at millions of miles per hour. But we can't measure it. We can't sense it. We can't see it, right? And no, Einstein himself says no optical experiment can determine any of these things, right? So, this is a picture that I think Don Pettit, the only guy that probably believes he was in space because he's hypnotized. Um, he's on the space station now. For those of you that don't realize, when you film the North Star with a time lapse, you'll get these perfect circles around the North Star, which is making a tiny little circle because it's not exactly in the center of the point of rotation. So it makes a tiny little circle, and all the other stars make perfect circles around it. So when you're on the Earth, the reason that happens is because the Earth is spinning, if you believe in the globe. Okay. But the Earth is also orbiting at a much faster speed. How come there's not streaks that way? And so he took this picture on the ISS allegedly, that's moving at 17,500 miles an hour, which is unfathomable. And it orbits the Earth once every 90 minutes. And somehow he got these streaks on the Earth lights, but these make perfect circles. That's impossible. The problem with this proof right here is many heliocentrists that haven't given as much thought as you have, Ricky, they don't even understand what I just said. They're unable to process that kind of thinking. They're only good at memorizing and regurgitation.
Get it?
Yeah.
Well, comment on this coincidence. So even though NASA's completed these missions to the moon and they've installed probes on distant planets and they've installed satellites and constructed the ISS
Yeah.
and developed myriad cutting edge technologies, they've yet to measure and document the curvature of the Earth's surface or prove the various Earth's motions. That, to me, ought to be enough right there to just put the brakes on.
We're orbiting and whirling and twirling and moving 4.5 billion miles a year in one direction, curving, while the other stars in our galaxy are binary. Most of them are binary. Some of them are trinary, which means they're all going around each other, all going in their own directions. But never once did two stars change position from our point of view. Think about parallax. Think about how far we're moving, that we're never returning for millions and billions of years, or as far as history goes, no two stars ever change position. That makes no sense at all. Unless the stars are fixed in the sky is turning, just like the Bible says, just like all of our observations show us. It's amazing. We look about planets. Check us out. This is what my co-host Matt just sent me this. Let's figure that out. So here's whatever this bottle is, and then this is pretty interesting. Looks a little bit like Saturn. Okay,
Wow.
right.
Wow.
The only thing that we and from my favorite podcast, if you want to save a bundle of money, don't send your kids to college. Just subscribe to Crow 777 Radio. There's two R's in Crow. Have them listen to one episode a day. So 4 repeats and 1 new every week. And the kid will be smarter than any kid graduating any school. Now, if you want to become a brain surgeon, something like that, you got to go to medical school, right? But if you want to learn about the world and how to, thrive in this world, Crow 777 Radio, it's $8 a month versus what does college cost? It's ridiculous. College is birth control because people don't have as many kids because they're afraid of not being able to afford a college. It's a way to keep the population down. Interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Very interesting. And it's also interesting that, we have to adapt to all these weather changes, earthquakes and hurricanes, and just the daily changes in weather. Yet, with with respect to every human endeavor, we treat the Earth as if it's stationary topographical plane. Everything we do, right? Is there anything? There's nothing we do differently because the Earth's spinning or curved.
I think there is. If the earth is spinning and curved, you're living in fear every second. Every cell in your body is living in fear. You are disconnected from creation. You're lost in space. Your thoughts aren't well. You can't think big because you're enclosed in that globe mind. Um, I think that you are a different type of person. I think everything about when you live on their ball field, playing by their ball field rules, you're a slave and a prisoner in a prison that you can't see the walls. So when we find out that the earth is flat, it stays, level, horizontal, topographical, non-moving plane, um, it changes everything. So I think we do act differently.
Do you recall Mark? He took exception to that one picture you had that
What
showed
picture?
the sun setting in exactly the same angle as the streetlights, but the pictures of the sun didn't overlap and they didn't kind of
Oh,
merge into it.
I remember that
What
argument.
what was his? I don't even know what
It
his
was stupid. I remember it
issue was.
was it was really stupid. Um, he was like, let me see if I can
Oh,
find it. Sunsets. Um, I I don't know which one it was. Because like the street lights got all closer and closer and closer together when you look at the street lights as they go in the distance, even though they're farther apart. Um,
yeah, but
maybe
he
this.
took exception to the fact
Well,
that the pictures of the sun didn't do that. They were equally spaced.
yeah. He's just reaching. Um, I have a.
I couldn't figure out what difference that.
It makes no difference. He doesn't even understand what he was talking about.
And you
Um,
explained it. You explained it in that they just selected the pictures
right.
such that they were evenly spaced.
Yeah. Because why would you take time lapse and just stack them on top of each other? But the street lights, you have no choice because they're just there. So you get them all in the picture, and that's why they all merge together.
But I mean, is he arguing that things don't appear to go lower in the sky as they move away from you?
He's arguing to protect his claim. That's why he doesn't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. This is well, this is just a time lapse of the
Similar, yeah.
moon going down, going away, and I just showed you that it's not going down; it's going across by comparing it to my flat Earth kitchen. This line here is level. It looks like it's going down. Looks like it's going below this thing, but it's level. And here, right here, if you can see, that's that thing. It's not going below it. A celestial point of view and a terrestrial point of view. This is not going lower. It's going across, just like this is not going lower. A real sunset. It's going across and it's setting behind what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity.
Yeah. One thing that does confuse me is you're saying that the sun moves across the sky at 15 degrees per hour, right?
Approximately until it gets down near the horizon, then it stops going down.
But doesn't it, since sunsets and sunrises, there's a longer span, obviously, when the days get longer. Wouldn't it have to move across the sky? It is. That's the picture.
Yeah, it's the picture. So this is the
Yeah.
street lights, and they get closer and closer and
Mhm.
closer and closer. This person just took them and spaced them out so they weren't touching, so they were equally spaced, right? If he took them every minute or every 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it was, equally, and then put them all in, they'd get closer and closer and closer until they crunch together here, right? Because the sun doesn't go below here, it just goes beyond there. So it gets pushed together like they are here. That's just how perspective works.
Hey everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
But you don't remember what point he was trying to make.
His point was he didn't believe that this was real because the spacing was different than here.
So the point he's making is that that's a fake picture.
He's frigging ridiculous.
Okay.
And if you watch my Anarcho conference, you'll know what frigging ridiculous really means. It's another 2 words that begin with an F and an R.
Yeah. As far as you know, is it still the actual case that there is no pictures or videos of satellites in space?
Well, there's pictures of lights in the sky that people are told are satellites, but it's impossible. There's no photographs, up close photographs, if that's what you mean. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but we see like people. I saw Starlink. I saw Starlink too, and it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Um, if you look at, have you seen the Starlinks go by?
I have not.
It's like it looks like this. You'll see these little lights crossing over. Now, if you stop and think and listen, you realize that those are lower than airplanes, than the average cruising height of an airplane. Whatever they are, I don't know what they are. Right.
Mhm.
And there's some weird stuff. Like some people, when they look up, there's sometimes stars that are next to them will disappear. Maybe like this is the bottom of an airship and it's cloaked. I don't know. Right. But the point is, they tell us these are Starlink satellites that are a fraction of the size of an engine on a 747. Right. So if we look at a 747, right, you can probably fit 4, 5, 10 Starlinks inside this engine. If you were looking at this plane in the sky, could you see the engine? It's too
Absolutely
small,
not.
right?
No.
If we doubled the height, could you see the airplane?
No.
No, that's only 10 miles. The Starlink satellites are a minimum of 350 miles. That's if they're directly above you. And you think you can see them, right? Let's say it's 7 miles high, right? Starlink satellites are tiny. Look, there's a man standing here. It's about, maybe 3 men is the size of a Starlink satellite, right? 340 miles high if it's directly above you. If it's over here, it's miles and miles farther. and we can see it go from horizon to horizon. That
And
makes no sense.
that's supposedly reflected light we're seeing.
Yeah, reflected light also. When you're reflecting light and something's moving, it's going to blink on and off. And it's reflecting down to me. Somebody a mile away shouldn't be able to see that same reflection. If I had a mirror and I was flashing it in your face across the beach and somebody was standing 10 feet to the right of you, would they see the reflection? No.
No.
People are lazy minded because they don't want to think things through because they were taught to memorize and regurgitate. Where's your degree? Well, I wasn't as good as the memorizer and regurgitator as you, so I don't have a degree in memorization and regurgitation of Rockefeller nonsense.
And we're supposed to believe that the one area of the world that holds all the answers to these questions, somehow the USA and Russia, at the height of the Cold War, decided to devote military assets to prevent people from actually going to the places that would answer all the questions.
Well, also there's the North Pole also. And if you look, all the old maps had these 4 islands. This is a low res, but there's 4 islands here, and the Rupus Nigra, the Black Rock. Black Rock. But now they just show us water, right? If you look at the old maps.
Is it militarily protected?
The
North Pole?
I think so. We're not allowed to go there. Do I have another map? Yeah, no, it's just interesting that the 2 places that would tell us the truth are off limits. Fascinating, right?
Anybody that's really free thinking, that should be pretty compelling information. Yet it's Teflon. It just goes right off like it's nothing.
Yeah. Men lie, nature doesn't lie. And it's bizarre what's going on with some people. But Earth is flat, and that's a fact. And we're not spinning out of control. We're not a stationary ball. We're not a ball at all. And we live in this massive system that we call Earth. Go ahead.
Do you call John that you did 2 with him? And the first one, he had a guy with him that didn't like anything you had to say. But then he decided to come back and have another go at it, and he got you and Nathan to talk to him.
I remember.
Guy's name's John. Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about the fact that planes fly level, according to gyroscope, that they fly level with nose up slightly. And somehow, though, he claims that gravity just somehow mysteriously and automatically adjusts the plane to fit the curvature.
It's flying like over the curve, and somehow it's doing this magic thing. The arguments that the Globers are making on that the plane is pitched up at 3 degrees. So how could it go over the curve? Like, well, how does it land? Because when it lands, it's pitched up, and they're right. It lands because it slows down, so it starts dropping. That's how it lands. Okay, that's how it lands. If they dove down, it would speed up. So they literally pitch the nose up even more and slow down and have a controlled descent. Now, the pilot gets to decide when he wants to descend. 100 miles out, 125 miles out, whatever. He gets permission and he does a descent. Now, I've talked to some major airline pilots, and one of these pilots is a Delta pilot. He says he likes descending a little farther out because he says it's a slower descent and the passengers are more comfortable, right? So with a slower descent. And so At 125 miles, he calculates, okay, we're 125 miles out. We're at 30,000 feet. I have to drop X number of feet per minute to land on the runway. Now that works, and it gets him right on the runway, and it's amazing. Problem is, it's a flat Earth calculation from 125 miles out. 125 miles out. Whoops, there we go. The horizon, the Earth drops 2 miles. So he would be 2 miles too high if he didn't calculate the curve. He doesn't calculate the curve. No pilot does. And it works. Wake up, people. Earth is flat. Airplanes.
And John says that simply gravity makes that adjustment.
Gravity. So
Somehow.
This is the SR-72 Blackbird, right? And it's 6,000 miles, halfway around the world, right? It goes 4,000 miles per hour. Okay, let me see if I got this right. So in 1 hour, it's going to be about 4,000 miles of drop. 4,000 miles. That's a mile per second of drop. So free-falling objects don't fall a mile per second. If he had to nose down at a mile per second, he'd be plastered against the ceiling and dead. Skydivers don't fall at a mile per second with their parachute closed, right? But the drop on this bad boy right here is a mile per second, or it'll go right off into space.
You'd be on the vomit comet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, take me through the steel man for the Globers with the,
with what?
You elevate above the Earth in a helicopter, and you come back down in the same place. And of course, the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth. So the Earth's spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
The atmosphere is spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yep.
Why do you not incur 1,000-mile-an-hour headwind when you travel west?
Because it's all stationary. It's all relative. You're on the Earth, moving at 1,000 miles per hour. So you're already, when you go and you're heading, the Earth spins. It spins to the west. So you're already moving 1,000 miles per hour. So when you go east, you're going 1,000 miles per hour, which keeps you right above the land, and then an extra 500. So you're gaining 500. When you want to go west, the Earth is spinning. You're already moving backwards to west at 1,000 miles per hour. So when you're above the Earth, you're moving 1,000 miles an hour to the east, but you travel 500 miles an hour to the west. It's frigging ridiculous, if you know what I'm saying, right? And they say
Isn't that where you point to your shirt?
Yeah, well, you're not stupid. It's stupid, right?
Yeah, I mean,
right. But the argument for the helicopter is incorrect. Helicopter I think they've hovered for 36 hours or 42 hours. Ridiculous. But it went up. So you have the curve of the Earth. The helicopter goes up. Now, if you take that circle of the Earth and then the circle that the helicopter's in the same amount of time, the helicopter now has to make more motion than the Earth. It's a bigger circle to stay over the land. So where does it get that extra energy from? Right? And to say that the gravity is holding the air down, explain this. Well, it's holding the air down, but there is air currents, right? Within that gravity locked air, there's air currents going in different directions. Do you see the mental gymnastics? It's amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Man.
We got a few minutes left. What else you got?
Yeah, well, I got a lot more, but obviously we're going to run out of time. But I kind of wanted to talk about when the obvious question comes up, why the lie?
Yeah.
We immediately start explaining, our reasons for why someone would lie.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the real revelation is the fact that there's an entity that's capable of lying, that's capable of creating a deception on that level, a mass deception on that level. And if people would look at 9/11, for instance, and JFK is just two things, and think about the perpetrators of those deceptions, what power they must have had. What facet of our society would they not have control over to have pulled off those deceptions?
They
And
got it all. I mean, they did it all. And the 9/11 was the beginning of the mind control. Even the truthers out there don't realize how
that's what I was
spiritual
going to
this
say.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is not just a physical deception. This is a spiritual deception. And
But yeah, we talk about, well, the 2020 election was stolen.
yeah,
No, there are no elections. How can there, if there's an entity out there capable of deceiving us at those levels, why in the world would they allow elections?
yeah, that is a good point. A lot of people think that it's AI that's running this whole place, and with literally AI is doing all of this. And that's interesting, an interesting line of thinking.
Have you read that quote from Woodrow Wilson? Can I read that real quick?
Woodrow Wilson
It's
said,
not long.
good.
Yeah. It's like, this was like turn of the century. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of somebody, are afraid of something.
Yep.
They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they had better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. Woodrow Wilson at the turn of the 20th century. So, the cabal existed even then. And I was going to float that out to you to see if you agreed that the way I see it is there's a single monolithic organization out there that's over generations infiltrated and captured every significant pillar of our society.
The reason people don't believe that is because it's such a big, long plan. They can't fathom it. Well, we only live 100 years. How does this has been planned for hundreds, if not thousands. I don't know. And it's incredible how big the plan is. There's some people believe that everything we do is predestined and we don't even have free will. It's an interesting concept to look into, but this realm we live in is amazing. I want to run one idea that I have for a proof that the Earth is a globe. I think it's pretty definitive. I think it could be done in one day, and it really only involves it's not that much, all right? So a gyro holds rigidity in space, right? So if I had a gyro in this hallway, I walk down the hallway, it would stay level with the floor, right? If I turned it sideways, it would stay parallel with the walls. If that hallway turned left, that gyro would still stay parallel with these walls, and it would rotate. As I turn left, it would appear to rotate. You with me?
Yep.
Okay. So on a globe, north-south lines are straight lines on a curved ball. Like if you had a gyro sideways, like we did, and you had it lined up with north and south, you'd be able to go from the North Pole to the South Pole, and the gyro would never turn because these are straight lines. On a longitude line, which is east and west, the plane has to keep in the north, has to constantly turn to the right. Right? It has to turn to the right to maintain that heading of 270 west. And if I want to go 270 west in the southern hemisphere, I have to turn left and not right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a flat Earth, what's the difference? Because in the north, it's the same. On the north, the plane has to turn to the right to maintain that heading of exactly 270 west. In the south, on a flat earth, the plane has to do the same thing. It has to turn to the right to maintain that heading. So all we need to do is get an airplane, bring it down to Brazil or somewhere in the south, farther south the better, and head west or head east. And if we have to correct to the north, the earth is a globe. I mean, the earth is flat. If we have to correct to the south, the earth is a globe. What do you think of that? On a globe, you have to constantly turn to the right. And then the Globers say, you don't have to turn to the right to maintain a heading of 270 or 90. Yeah, you do. On your globe and on our flat earth, it's the same. You have to turn. If you're on the globe and you were a mile from the North Pole, so you got a rope, you tie it to the North Pole, and you're a mile away and you want to head west or east, you have to hold on to that rope. You're going to make a circle. You're going to be right back to where you started from 6.28 miles later. Right?
Right.
So it is a turn, and it's the same on a globe earth and a flat earth. We had to teach this in a big argument with the dumbest globers ever. But they finally conceded. Okay, you're right. So it has to turn to the right. On the equator, it would fly straight. It wouldn't need to turn. But in the south, it would have to turn to the left to maintain that heading of west or east. Right? But on a flat earth, yeah, both always turn right. Now, this isn't a light in the sky. Well, the sun doesn't turn right, it turns left. That's a light in the sky that you can't even justify. But an airplane is a physical object measuring a physical ground, right? It's not, we can have the airplanes fly 100 feet over the water. So we can say they're on the earth, and ships captains navigating out here in the Navy have mentioned that when they go east or west, they always have to keep correcting to the north, and they think there's something wrong with the rudder. And the admiral says, "Don't worry about it. Just keep going. Stop asking questions."
Yeah.
You have to turn to the right on a flat earth when heading west. I don't see a problem with this.
Well, but it's interesting that already comparing the evidence for a flat earth comparatively makes O.J. Simpson look innocent.
No kidding.
I mean, there's already so much friggin' evidence. I mean, it's not a close call. It makes the Malay massacre look like a draw.
Yeah. So there you go.
Why? One thing I'd like your comment on is they call Google in on the carpet. Congress does.
Yeah.
And they want to know what Google's going to do about misinformation, specifically about flat Earth. Why do they call Google in there? Why don't they call NASA in there and tell them to prove it?
Because it's one big club and you ain't in on it, right? It's all just a show.
Yeah.
It's all a show. That whole mentioning flat Earth is to make people laugh at flat Earth. Obama mentioned flat Earth a dozen times in his speeches. John Kerry mentioned it. Bush mentioned it, right? They mention the Flat Earth Society and they laugh at it, and the people in the background laugh. It's all a scripted reality. It's amazing.
But Globers don't wonder that. Why?
Globers are a weird breed. Like I go back and forth, and I'm kind of leaning towards they're literally just possessed by spirits, and they don't know it, because it's easier to control somebody that way than paying them off or threatening them. Although I could be wrong. Maybe some of them are threatened. Who knows? Like Bob, the science guy, who he is. He's So he was a doctor, and he was arrested for prescribing barbiturates for sexual favors from women. And he was in the middle of this, ready to go, to his final hearing, and the charges were dropped. And then he shows up on the scene 24/7 as an anti flat earther, right? So they would go to him and listen, you're going to lose your license. You're going to lose your house. Your wife's going to, well, I don't even know he's married. You're going to be broke. You're never going to work a day in your life, or you can do this and you'll be able to raise money and we'll be able to get you money. He's going to take it because he's, already selling, prescribing barbiturates for BJs.
Sheesh.
I should make a t-shirt. That'd be a good t-shirt. Bob the Science Guy, barbiturates for BJs. I'd wear that.
Well, as a personal testimony, I can tell you that I look at your app first thing every morning.
You watch the daily video every day?
I watch the video every morning.
No, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome. How am I doing? Because those are all me. Are you, they're pretty good most of the time, right?
That's why I ask you,
Yeah.
Who's doing all that work?
Me. I'm doing it. And,
you and Paige?
No, Paige doesn't do it. She just, smiles and looks nice and makes me breakfast.
Oh, man. So you are working real hard.
I am, but the Globers will say I'm grafting.
Well,
I do this to help people find their way because what it did for me is amazing. And I want other people to experience the joy in life and the love and not be stuck on the fear ball.
Yeah, I did make the mistake of trying to tell my brother and sister about.
Yeah, I warned you about that, I think.
Woo!
Yeah, so it's different for everybody, but one way to, if someone is like that, you can go to them and say, hey, so I've been looking into this flat Earth thing, and there's this guy offering 3 Bitcoins. You know what a Bitcoin is, right? It's almost 300 grand. For one globe proof. Help me prove it, because of course the Earth is a globe. I think you're right. And then show them ODD's 21 questions video, which can be found in the crash course, which is under this button, right? And it's 21 questions, short questions, like 3 minutes each. That way they'll keep their attention. And then if they watch that whole video, they're screwed. It plants 21 seeds that'll never get out of their brain matter, and then they'll get there. So, if it's not money, sometimes it's the fact that they're censoring us. Oh, really? Now I'm interested. Or the biblical side of it, or whatever. But usually the money thing in this world, works. Just say, I'll split it with you. I'll give you one of the 3, and they'll negotiate. I want 1.5. No, right? Like it's going to happen, and that's not going to happen, because once they look, they're not going to be able to unsee it. Just like you. You look a little bit like Buzz Aldrin, Buzz Lightyear, Buzz the astronaut. So, what's his name?
Without the
Buzz
black
Aldrin?
eye.
Is it Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah, without the black eye.
You should do some spoof videos, like Buzz saying stupid things. Kind of just get an astronaut suit on and just make some videos and go off on a drunken rant.
That's a new one there for sure.
That'd be good. All right, Rick, thanks. It was great talking to you. And I'll upload this on my channel. Do you want to put it on your channel first?
I don't have a channel.
Okay, I'll put it up and I'll send you the link, and it's good to go. I'm going to put it up tonight or tomorrow.
I just wanted to chat with you.
Nice, Rick.
Yeah. All right, sir.
All right, man. Keep up the good work. Spread the word, and if you wake up one person a week, a month, a year, or a day, you're doing a good job.
Well, it is the only thing we can do, isn't it?
Yep.
There really is nothing else we can do but try to wake up the guy next to us.
We're big enough now that if everybody literally shared the app once a week, in the end of the year, the whole world would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, take care, and you keep up the good work, because it's got to be gratifying to you knowing that you are actually turning people on to flat Earth.
It keeps me going for sure. It keeps me going.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, bud.
All right. I might make the thumbnail and make you look like Buzz Aldrin a little bit and say Buzz Aldrin interview.
Do anything you want.
All right, man. Thanks. See ya.
Later on.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, everyone, if you enjoyed this interview, please help support my work and help wake up others by referring or gifting the app to at least one person today. By doing that, you're going to help wake people up and help me to continue doing other interviews like this. With the censorship out there that's going on, it's very difficult to find relevant information. And the app, as you know, brings people to the truthful information of our world. So help support my work, help support your efforts in waking up friends, family, and strangers. Gift them the app or just recommend the app. And let's make 2025 the year Flat Earth breaks free. Check the links below for information on how to gift the app or just refer the app to others, and use your referral code to earn Dome cryptocurrency and a free subscription. Thanks.